Hello there, great Fremen person, and welcome to this. Finally, I did it. I finished Children of Dune. Was a very interesting, very fun book. As to the movies, we got news. Christopher Walken is gonna be Shedem the Fourth. I hope I didn't spoil it. So interesting casting choice there. Can't wait to see what he does with the role. But today we're not gonna talk about the movies, which are great, and I've probably seen Dune like 20, 30 times now. I love the movie to death. Very, very great movie. Still a great movie, great experience, and almost everyone I talked to really liked it as well. So that's a good thing. So yeah, the book Children of Dune. Children of Dune was I've read some stuff from Herbert's son, and he said the first three books are a trilogy. So Dune, Messiah, and Children. Um, and I kind of understand that, though I would still say that Messiah and Dune are one book, and this one is like another book or story wise. I wouldn't put them together. I see why you would put them together, perhaps, because obviously the story is continued. But um, I have to be honest. The first few things in the books, I really needed some time to get used to them, because there were some things where I thought to myself, okay, this is weird. Why have I not heard this before? Or what happened here? What's going on? It's like it wasn't like this smooth continuation of Messiah. Many of the things I had perhaps some problems with in the beginning, I got used to them and I started liking them as well. Some I did not. So this is the first one where there are some things where I like disagree with where Herbert took things. But overall, it was still a very entertaining read, and I loved the middle the most. I think I didn't like the beginning that much, and the ending. There were some things where I thought to myself, "This is starting to get very questionable." It's not the Sandtrouts stuff. I kind of understand it, though I will talk about it, of course, as well. It's not what I mean. It was some different things. Um, yeah. What I think was in the beginning also was a bit where I was like, okay, haven't we done this before? And to be fair, they did, or Herbert did good in the end. He used my expectations against me. So there was this plot from Wineskia or whatever she was called, so the mother of Farad'n, and she was plotting again to overthrow Arrakis rule. And Atreides had to go, and Carino had to, be the Emperor family again, and stuff like that. And I thought to myself when I read that at first, like, and when they started training the tigers and stuff like that, I was like, haven't we done this before? Hasn't Irulan done this before? Um, yeah, Irulan switched sides now. I like that, but we'll get to that. Oh yeah, I have to. I will just write it down so I don't forget Irulan, because I haven't talked about her, written down my thoughts about her, or that I should address her. Okay, so whatever. Yeah, Irulan. Irulan is there still. I like Irulan a lot. But okay, so we were in this scheming again on Corino. Fine. In the end, it turned out to be a different direction. So it was not a retread. It felt like a retread, but it was not. So yeah, I really did like that story part in the end a lot, a very very lot. But in the end, beginning, I was a bit like, okay, why is he doing this again? But now I see. Um, and yeah, let's actually talk about this first. I noted it down later, but that is my biggest gripe, perhaps, with the book. Um, there's one really really big gripe I had, and something I really disliked, and that's probably personal preference. I can understand why other people might really like this, but Alia was the thing I really hated in the book. What they did to her, or what Herbert did to her, because I don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with her having this abomination thing happen to her, which felt a bit retconny, to be honest, because in the last books nothing happened there. Like, she was once in this trance when she was fighting the, what was it called, this training thing. You know that I think they kind of adapted it in what was it? the Mulholland Drive director. Oh God, Lynch. I'm sorry, so sorry. In David Lynch's version, they adapted it where Paul was like, "Whoosh," fighting against this robot thing, and Alia was fighting against that in Messiah, and she like had this trance or whatever, and she was going against it, and she was like beating it more and more and more and more down. Um, that could have been a hint. That would have been the place where I would have laid the seeds for her change. Then I would have understood. But as it was in this book, the change just came out of nowhere. It was just like starting with, yeah, Alia's evil now, basically. It's like Alia is evil, can't trust her, she's abomination, and suddenly abomination really means something because I misunderstood it perhaps. So perhaps help me in the comments if I misunderstood it. If I did, it's my mistake. But the way I understood abomination was that an abomination is like someone who has a cell memory, just that. So Leto the second and Ghanima and Alia and Paul to a degree and Jessica, because they awakened their cell memory, but because Ghanima and Leto and Alia did it by birth and were born like this, they were abomination. So I assumed that was what it meant, and suddenly it meant, yeah, no, it's exactly what I said, but it's also when one of the personalities just takes you over randomly, and not randomly. That's a bit harsh. It made sense in a way why it happened, but yeah, it was retconny, and the problem I had was that it really felt like, and there were some other things that felt like this, but it felt like he planned Messiah and the original Dune, and this one was like, okay, we will just go from here. Oh, there's a good idea I have. Let's just put it in. But yeah, we will kind of retcon things, so it will work. So I really got the feeling in the beginning with several things, and in the end as well. Again, and that's why I didn't like the end that much. I got the feeling that there were parts that were retcons. And Alia was the biggest one. It was like, okay, now she's evil, and now abomination means that she's taken over, and she got taken over by Baron Harkonnen because we like him as a bad guy, I guess. And yeah, what did he do? He did like speak 5 times. So it was like 5 scenes where he talked to her actually. And yeah, he possessed her. I like the idea though. Don't get me wrong. I really like the idea of abomination. So the new abomination. I really did like that idea. It was very great. It was a lot of fun to think about. But it was not set up. I felt it was not set up, and it especially was not set up for Alia. And yeah, so perhaps I'm a bit salty because she was one of my absolute favorite characters in the last book. Might be, but yeah, and in the end she stops herself because she can't live with it. Whatever, I don't know. No, she offs herself because she has like she wants to do the right thing, I guess, in the end. Yeah, but I don't know. That really came out of left field. So Alia is the antagonist because the Baron is living inside her, and the Baron wants power. It's not even the Baron anymore that we know that is more complex, like that wanted the power for his heirs. That was great about the Baron, by the way, in the book. He was a disgusting A-bag. But the Baron, what he was he was for his family, and he wanted all the things he did and all the atrocities he did, save for, I think, the stuff with the young boys he did, which was, but, there was all things he did for his family. Here it was things he did for Alia. And to exist, I think, in the end. Actually, wait, let me look it up. Yeah, let me actually look it up. So in the end, what does he say, his last words? And when he is completely taken over Alia, his last words are, yeah, it's like, don't do this, stop it, and I'll help you. I have a plan, listen to me, stop it, I say, wait. And Alia does say, nope, I'm just gonna throw myself off the balcony. I mean, that was heroic. Yeah, it was a bit sudden. That change was a bit sudden as well. And she said, like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna off myself now because this is horror and terror, and she's like pestering me. And um, before she was able to suppress him with this medicine, I guess she was also being tranquilized, so to speak, and being sedated by that. But she beat him, and in the end, he absolutely took over. Yeah, that was weird. Perhaps I read it wrongly, and it was more than what I understood from it, but That's basically the gist from the Baron stuff. Yeah, so I was really a bit mad there. And then Alia is also like not really listening to her brother. So Paul's words, they do move her, to be fair. So the preacher Paul's words move her, and she doesn't want him ended. She wants to gloat in the end. She would just wants to gloat at him. Why? Because she seemed, I really didn't get whether she still loved him, because I got the impression a bit. She did not like her mother anymore, probably because of the Baron, I guess. Um, yeah, and she was really power hungry and like planning assassinations, and she controlled. Did she control? I think in the end she even controlled the stuff with the preacher, didn't she? Because Gurney Halleck was there. And no, she did. She controlled Namir, I think his name was. Namir. So she controlled several Fremen that were like in the Jessica plot as well. So about all of Jessica's Fremen friends were on Alia's side in the end. It was a plot twist, so to speak. Which, okay, that's fine. She was like very influential, I get that. But Jessica was a bit dumb in this book. But yeah, it was her flaw. That made sense kind of, because she was set up as someone not thinking for herself anymore, really, in a bit. At least that's what I got from it. So I got that. That was fine. So yeah, Alia was behind everything in the end. Every evil deed she did, which was a bit too much for my taste. Because I would have liked more doubts in her mind. More doubts. Because I did not fear for her in the end anymore. It was just like this evil, mustache twirling villain, so to speak. Perhaps she had a mustache, I don't know. And that's what she was in the end. She was very cartoonish, I felt. She was this, oh, I'm possessed now. I don't know. And then she did not have like this really big inner struggle. Yes, she had her plans. They kind of made sense. And she managed to stop her aging. She did that. So she planned on being alive longer. And it's like the Baron wanted a vessel that could live forever, so he could live forever, probably. The memory. Yeah, that was okay. But yeah. What also was a bit retconny, I kind of liked it, but in the end it didn't really matter, was the Fremen myth of Jarakuthu or whatever that place was called, and the other one. So first Jarakuthu or Kador or whatever it was called by Ghanima was introduced like this place where I've got I'm about to confuse those two. It was one of the abandoned ones, wasn't it? I don't know anymore, because there are these two places of Fremen legend, and they were suddenly introduced, and both of them in the end didn't really matter. They were just places where people were. So yeah, that also felt tacked on, this suddenly Fremen myth, a new one. I don't know. Um, and perhaps it's just because I just read Wheel of Time. Because in Wheel of Time there are so many foreshadow things, and I felt that in Dune and for Dune Messiah there were several things that really made sense and foreshadowed a bit. Like, let me actually think of an example so I don't talk rubbish. Was there foreshadowing for Messiah? I mean, on the cover he's walking into the desert. Um, Yeah, that he will. Yeah, the Jihad. Yeah, of course, the Jihad. You could argue that it was obvious that it would go that way, but that the Jihad would be happening, but it was very smooth, and the Fremen Dream was foreshadowed. Like, it was just this idea discussed, and in book 2 it started to like take place, and in this book suddenly it also already worked. I think they had a reason for that, but it was a bit okay. It really undermines what the Fremen Dream was, because you don't really work that much anymore for it. And is it because why was it even still done? The Fremen, of course, wanted it because it was the more deep religion. I understand that, but why would Alia still want that? Alia shouldn't care. So she was just like in the throne room and doing it with everyone she could find. So I'm sorry, I'm so harsh on the Alia of children. I don't like her. I think she's my least favorite character in children, and she's probably my one of my two favorites in Messiah. So yeah, it was just like very unlikable, and just for the sake of it. But yeah, um, yeah, the philosophy parts. There were these parts where Leto, and also I think Stilgar in the beginning, they were like thinking about stuff and philosophy and what does it, how is time flowing, what is happening. And I will not discuss that here. I will do a video or perhaps several videos because I will probably analyze all those passages because I'm really interested in them. I really did like them, though they are very, 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 very dense and complicated. And at first glance, they're even a bit pretentious, but I think they are very valuable to understand. So I will do videos series about the thoughts of humanity and future and all the passages where this time bending stuff and all of that happens, because that I really do like that about the series. I really, really do like it, and I think enjoy it greatly to read all those little passages again where it is happening, and so from Paul and from Leto and from Ghanima a bit. Yeah, that's so I'm not gonna delve into that too much. Um, Though it's still the golden path, so there's some golden path, which, yeah, and again, that was, I felt retconned. I'm so sorry that I don't want to be too negative about this because it wasn't that big of a deal because I enjoyed the book greatly. But this was also a bit retconny, so Paul did apparently see the golden path as well, and he didn't go down it. But in the last books, I always had the impression that he knew the one path he had to take to like do the least bit of harm, so to speak, and to like um, first he wanted to run away from Jihad, then he came to terms with it, and then he like understood that it was a bad thing, and then he tried to do the right thing in the end because he was swept away by this purpose stuff, and then suddenly no, it wasn't. He chose the golden path, no more, and he saw that. Yeah, he did. It wasn't in the book. He didn't see it in the book, but yeah, he saw it and he decided, and that was a revelation. No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. I felt a bit betrayed there as well because we were with Paul and Messiah all the time. At least it felt like that, save for the conspirators and stuff like that. But we were so much with Paul. I did not. Perhaps I misread that. Perhaps if there is a place where he talks about this and I did not understand it, and I don't mean the Jihad path. So there's this Jihad path and there's this golden path for 1,000 billion years into the future or whatever. So humanity will never be, I don't know, harmed again, but will be harmed on the golden path for the greater good, so to speak. I don't know. I never got this idea. I never got this idea. And if the golden path is in Messiah and I skipped it or I forgot it, I'm very, very sorry. Then it's on me. But the way I remembered it, there was nothing about that came close to this. But if there was, please point it out to me and I will reread it because I'm interested. Because then, yeah, I really appreciate this because it's a cool idea, the golden path. I really like the golden path. So it's the same thing as the Jihad path, and let's call it that, but it's more universal. I felt it was like the logical step from there. It's like, no, we will just not look at the next years or so or decades or 100 years, but forever. We will look at all of time. And that was what it was, because in this book it was like, yeah, every time is one thing. That's what we start to be. It's not like we see into both ways, it's all the same. And in a way, Paul already was that. He was like the one who was everywhere, But yeah, it was like this idea, but another one. It was a nice idea. I like the Golden Path idea, and I'm sure they will explore it in God Emperor because that's what was promised to me. And I hope the promise will stand, and we will just get something there. Yeah. A very cool part of the book, and it was just one sentence, and I don't remember where it was, but it was like it was about So it started with the Holtzman effect, that there were people that were trying to, and like the Tleilaxu and the Ixians. Are they called Ixians? I think they're called Ixians. These technology races that, or not races, and people. The technology people or peoples, those two, they are like engineering and starting to go towards computers and thinking machines, and they supposedly work on breaking down the Holtzman effect. And yeah, then it's said that from that I think it went to the atomics, so the nuclear weapons, um, and it got revealed why they still had nuclear weapons, all of them. So it's like, yeah, so everyone has a secret base where they have nuclear weapons. So if like Corino attacked Arrakis, all the weapons would be fired from planet Yuxluplot, and Yuxluplot would just fire it at Corino and absolutely devastate everything there. And then Corino has a secret planet called Ipsliplip, and Ipsliplip is then like shooting at Yupsliplup, and I don't know, and the whatever. It's like a giant weird thing, and everyone's dying basically. So no one wants that to happen, and everyone knows it. So the reason why they still have nuclear weapons is in case there is an alien intelligence coming one day. Really like that. And I don't even know if there ever will be in the books, because currently we only have humans and stuff like sprung from them, or from Earth, stuff sprung from Earth. And I am so curious to. First, I really do like that they are looking out for that, and they are being very careful to not, F around with something like that. And they are prepared, always. So I really did like that. And it made the world like a bit richer. And it cemented again that we currently only have humans, you know? We also got in, I think it was chapter before that or two, a flashback to the Butlerian Jihad. And it was again stated, and I don't know if someone told me in the comments way back when, or if it was already in the books, but it seems that not the computers rebelled. So not the thinking machines, it was the people using the thinking machines, and it was also implied that the thinking machines were just tools, and they were used, but they were tools that were too powerful. And that's why they stopped using them. And that's why they did all this stuff with the mentats and all the things replacing them, because they wanted a closer human feeling. And they wanted probably, and this is just me guessing, they probably wanted to give the emotional components to every weapon so that they can be perhaps in the worst case controlled, perhaps, I don't know, or yeah, that might not be, but it's like all the computing is done by humans, like by space guild navigators, or by mentats, or by Ben and Gesserit. So yeah, it was very, very great. Oh yeah, something I in most parts really liked as well. Fremen Dream. Fremen Dream is done, so to speak. So the desert is almost gone. Suddenly, please explain to me why. I didn't get it, but it's probably because the Fremen are even better workers and more adamant on making it true than um, they thought. So yeah, Liet said, like, what did he say, 400 years or whatever, or 200 years, several generations at least. And that's why it was so beautiful. So the people worked because they wanted something for the far future, which, I mean, and I don't get political on this channel really, so it's just like an observation. It's a bit like there is a problem currently, and and you have to solve it, but you will not get the benefits from that, and it will not perhaps even, your life will not change a lot. Your life will not change a lot, but you have to do it, and you have to work, because 200 years in the future something will happen otherwise, or could happen otherwise, if you really, really want it, and if you follow that dream. And the Fremen Dream is very positive, which I also like. It's like a very positive thing. The dream alone is positive. There's no malevolence in it. It's not like yeah, we want the green and we are gonna kill all the worms for that. That's not what they do. They don't know that they say, yeah, the worms, they will just, there were fewer of them, but okay. Um, and I understand for that alone they get in conflict, probably. I think it was in the book, but if it was not, I also still think they would probably be getting into problems there or running into problems there because the Shai Hulud is their god, so their gods are like going away, and yeah, it's very dangerous, and spies will just no spies anymore for anyone because the worms are gone and they can't like live on other planets, and they try to bring the Sandtrouts to other planets and yeah, re-engineer these worms that Claylax I think are doing it. I don't know if the Ixians are doing it. I did not remember. I don't remember, but I think they do it as well. And yeah, it won't work. Someone, yeah, Leto the second, when he was like ascending, he said, "No, no, what are you? You're stupid. No, it won't work. Whatever you do, it won't work because it's Arrakis." And I wonder why. What about Arrakis is so special? Is there something, because we are now starting to get into this psychic higher power stuff, like really sci-fi ideas, and I think perhaps Dune's alive somehow, and like the worms are like the parasites on the living thing. Perhaps Dune has a minefield, whatever, I don't know. Doesn't even have to be an intelligence, just some weird minefield, space distortion, whatever, and the worms, that's what they need, and you can't replicate it because you would need to shape planet, whatever, I don't know, something like that, I guess. But there has to be something about Arrakis, like the planet, that allows worms to exist, that another planet does not have, and another planet has deserts. Let's be real. Other planets have deserts, so worms should exist on Earth, so to speak. We don't even know what happened to Earth. I don't know what happened to Earth, but yeah. So yeah, the Fremen Dream is too quick, which I like. I did not expect it, and I really do like this. So in the first two books, the Fremen Dream is this perfect thing that you are working towards, that you really try hard to achieve, but you will not achieve it, your children will achieve it, and it will be better in the future, and you in the present take up your burden, take your spade, build your qanat, whatever, and then in a 100 years, someone will be able to sit under a palm tree and, I don't know, drink a coffee latte, whatever, or a spice coffee. I don't know. So that's what it was, and yeah, and the same way that Frank Herbert played with Paul Atreides, the hero that just gets corrupted and falls down, corrupted. Alia got corrupted. That's, you can say Alia got corrupted. Paul didn't really get corrupted. He was just like trying his best, and he was in a shitty situation. Alia got corrupted, but yeah. So this hero figure, this godlike figure that Muad'Dib was, nope, he absolutely demolished that idea that there are these people. And as we know, and he said it, he said it in the commentary, and I think Messiah, that he wants to tear down the hero and the mythical, great, perfect figure that you have to bow down to and that you follow blindly. And he did that. And here he does the same thing. And at first I didn't, I still don't really get how it happened, but I will just say I don't care anymore because it's a great idea and it's a great thing to read. So let's say the Fremen were more ambitious than everyone thought, and they just planted it. They had some help from the Ixians, I don't know, and they helped plant, and they brought better plants that could whatever, And then, but the thing is, the dream is also corrupt. The dream of the lush garden that they want, the sea, peace and safety for the children they want, it will bite the children in the ass, because the children will just be like, they don't even, like, it starts with, they don't know how to build stealth shields anymore. That's the biggest warning sign. They know how to, but it's not a real stealth suit. They are like very cheap, and because they start with these pills, I think, or whatever it was that they just take, and it makes you lose less water. So they are starting to get dependent on technology again, the same way they were in the Butlerian Jihad, but differently. Now it's biotechnology, and they think, yeah, it's for the best. And that is such a hard question, and it's such an interesting question. and a thought that every dream you have for someone, and if you want to make things better, be aware of what you're doing with the dream. What will that dream in reality do to them? Because it won't probably do what you want. Because that's always the case, I think. If you know, like this, you have this great, morally ambitious, great idea, and you think you're right, and you know it, and you implement it, and it goes to shit. Sorry for wording. That's the way it goes, because there is something you didn't think of. Perhaps there are side effects. Perhaps people will get too cozy. Perhaps someone else will dislike it and like try to end it for you. Who knows? But it's very, very dangerous to realize your dream, and you should always be aware of that. But still, should probably try to do it, because yeah, it's better to have an oasis and not die in the desert. That it's also perhaps not so good to live in an oasis and the desert will just eat you if you step one foot into it. You know what I mean? It's like this balance has to be found, and I love that so much that they did this with the Fremen Dream. And how it was done is a bit questionable, as I said, but the way it was done, I really did like the idea. Because beware of dreams as well. Dreams are great, and they can be so good, but always beware of the dream. And it's, like I said, the same as with Paul as the more deep figure, just with, more abstract concept. And yeah, let's see where that goes. Because like it's like if you imagine a Dune, it's like this planet, and there's only this, like the equatorial zone is only desert now. It's like you have to choose how do you want it. It's like how big do you want this equatorial zone to be, so everyone is living safely and can live and is not starving to death, but also is not getting too cozy and overconfident and whatever. You know what I mean? That's basically what Dune is, what Eureka stands for, like balancing your dream. And you know, this might be a bit reaching, but I really do like that. Really enjoyed that. Fremen Dream, one of my favorite ideas in all of science fiction. In all of fiction, such a great idea. I love it to death. Fremen Dream, you go, still you go, but be careful. Careful, don't kill the Shaiududes, because then they will like mutate and eat you. It's with Leto. It's like the desert came back, and it's as well. And I'm just thinking, you know, I haven't really thought about this before, so I'm sorry if this is all a bit rambly, but what I just noticed as well is that the spice comes from the worms, and the worms, and the spice is what activated in the end Leto's setting the golden path, and Leto's decision to transform, because he had this spice overdose and stuff like that. Not overdose, but the spice the first time injected, and so it's like by injecting something of the worm of the desert, he makes sure that the desert stays, because the spice is what they all use. They all use the desert to stay, but he's the one that can use that knowledge or that feeling or whatever, and he can make sure that it stays that way. He also does not want the spice to go to waste, because he knows interstellar travel will break down and humanity will just be aimless and will just get lost. And perhaps if an alien intelligence comes, I don't know. I kind of hope an alien intelligence comes. I know there won't be one. Probably not. Don't spoil me, but it would be so good. But yeah, it's like Leto's also for spies, and it's also interesting that Leto didn't take spice before. I mean, he lives on Arrakis. It's gonna blow into his eyes and whatever, but he's not gonna have a spice shock like Paul in the tent. That was an Academy snub there, that scene. By the way, what the frick? I'm glad Dune got so many Academy Awards, but yeah, oh god, what's his name? Timothy was snubbed there. Sorry, not giving him an Oscar for that. Sorry, whatever. F you. Whatever. That's my stance on that. But that's that. So the spice is very, very. It's the thing that drove Alia to apparently into this abomination stuff, which was also so weird. So Leto immediately had problems with abomination, because the voices already started, and he just had already transcended somehow before that, because he was the real Kwisatz Haderach probably. But yeah, so why did Alia only change so much later? Because it's implied it's like two weeks before. That's exaggerated, but like 2 weeks before the book starts, it's like, yeah, it was one day. And since then he was whispering, and he didn't get really stronger in that time, the Baron whispering to Alia. So I assume it was not that long before the book starts that she like got into this Baron personality. Yeah. So spies like suddenly can I mean, we knew that spies made Paul transcend time and space, so but and that it awoke cellular memory. We knew that, but this was like a new angle that by doing that you will lose yourself in your cellular memory. I wonder why though, because there are so many personalities. Wouldn't like Leto automatically fight the Baron, like inside Alia, because the Baron's also male? Why did she come up here? There, I wasn't Alia only seeing women, all the Reverend Mothers? Oh God, did she? I don't remember. Then that makes even less sense, but I don't know. Yeah, so spies is the thing that also will make humans transcend. So the dragon in the desert that is hoarding eternal wisdom and stuff like that, and producing that, if you are willing to start and have some fun with it. And if you lose yourself in it, you will just get possessed by a big fat guy, or like lose yourself. And yeah, I also wonder. Leto said that he was Abomination as well because he was this harem guy, which was one of the first people, I think. And I'm not that sure whether he was possessed by him as well, and we just don't know because it's not really clear. We will have to find out. I'm gonna look out for that in Emperor. Yeah. So that was my little thought spillage on that. Yeah, so let's continue. Yeah, the Sandtrout. I want to talk about the Sandtrout because that really confused me. And no, it did not confuse me that he fused with them. I mean, fine. It confused me. I thought they were fish, like little fish worms. And they are like, it's like they're a amoeba, amoeba. How do you call it? These little blobby things. Because they were so malleable and they were just like just membranes. So it was like I now imagine they're like what do you call them? Flatworms? That's probably not how you call it. So I'm currently translating the German word, a word literally into English. So a flatworm, I don't know, like a worm that's really flat, and also like a slug, a flatworm slug. That's what a sandtrout is. And that it even makes more sense now that several together form the worm because they like fuse into each other. That was very interesting, and I think I finally got it through the transformation. But yeah, is that correct? Please tell me. Is that a Sandtrout? Is like this little weird blob thing? Is that a Sandtrout? I thought it was something else. Yeah. Okay. Um. Yeah, characters. What I have to say is several characters were very computer-like because they were like, I scheme here to do that, and I will counter you with my scheme here, and I will scheme here and counter you there. That was a bit jarring to read. Like, Jessica was very jarring to read in parts because that's what she did all the time. In the end, he. I don't know why I always make that mistake to switch between them. I don't know, but she did really, in the end, get emotional again and learn something about herself, and that she was like possessed by the Bene Gesserit ideas all her life. I really did like that aspect, but many people that were just scheming all the time, they were just like, I do this. So it's like they describe a chess game very boringly. Um, and I did not like that much. I didn't connect with those with the characters in those moments as I did in the previous books. There was scheming in the previous books, but it was also very emotional scheming all the time. And here it was, yeah, they heard like they shouted or whatever, but I don't know why it did not feel as emotional, as if the characters were not that emotionally invested in the stuff. I don't know. The Preacher, Paul Atreides. I loved the preacher until almost the very end. So the preacher, when he was introduced, was this old guy. It could be Paul, probably was Paul, I thought, but I didn't know. And he was spouting this stuff, and he was like trying to counter Alia's propaganda and stuff like that a bit. And he tried to be warned about Muad'Dib's legacy, and then also about how it was interpreted by the priests that were just corrupt AF. That's what he did, and I really loved that. And then it came. Then it came the part where I absolutely thought, why? Why? And it somehow fits a bit, I think, but it really made me that ruined the ending for me a bit when Leto confronts Paul. And he asked him, "Are you Paul? I know you're Paul, because he knows because Paul is inside him as well." And by the way, I will get to that, but it was so cool, Ghanima and Leto like getting into other persons and talking. But yeah, he was like confronting him, and Paul was just afraid of the golden path. He was a coward in the end. And yeah, by the way, like he went into the desert, but then he said, "Oh no, I don't really want to die, I guess." I think that was what it was. "I don't really want to die. I would just go out." And then yeah, the Fremen knew, or whatever Alia knew. I don't even remember. I think Alia knew, and she told the Fremen. No, Alia didn't know. She just the Fremen. Some Fremen said, "Yeah, he's not gonna do that," and they were right. He went back on tradition, because that so destroyed Paul in my eyes, because that's what he was in the end. In the end, he became Fremen. He was not the Caledonian prince anymore. He was Fremen. He accepted that tradition, even though he was the God Emperor, so to speak. Because I don't know, was he? I know the next book is called God Emperor, but let's call him God Emperor as well. So he was the Emperor of the universe, and in the end, he was still so loyal to the Fremen and so liking their ideas, and had such strong brotherly bonds and connections with them, that he said to them, "I will die in your way because I am one of you," like Messiah, or like Jesus even. Like he says, "I will die." Not exactly, but I will die I will die in your way to show you I'm human. It's like the anti-Jesus in a way, because Jesus like came back, and with that he showed he was not human in the Bible. And here it was like, yeah, he went away to show he was still human, because that was his plan, like showing that. And the only thing I think they should have done like this, or Frank Herbert should have done it perhaps like this. And what do I know? I'm an idiot, but I would have done it like he went away and he got a last vision, and he sensed that it wasn't enough. And that's why he turned back. And that's why he then said, "I have to preach. I have to more actively destroy myself. I have to first create the legend that I went into the desert and died. And then I have to be this weird preacher guy that is sowing doubt and stuff, and still like, saving my legacy." And it might have been like that, but it was not in the book. In the book, it was, yeah, he like got cold feet apparently. Then he was confused, and they like, I don't know. It was so weird. And then in the end, he just randomly dies because the priest stabs him to death. Great. Yeah. That was whatever. Yeah, and Leto even says, "You're such a coward." And she says, "Yes, I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid." Yeah, okay. I really dislike that. All the preaching was great. I loved the preaching. All the things he said were great, but for me, it undermined his character. And Paul was one of my favorite characters of all time when he went into the desert, because that was such a great big act. And now they said, yeah, but no, like Luke Skywalker. Suddenly he's an idiot drinking milk, whatever. It was a bit like that. I felt like that. And yeah, I don't know. What do you feel about that? Do you think it was okay? Did you like it? Why did you like it? If you liked it, you disliked it, yeah. Because that is something. Yeah, because with this book, I think I will definitely read it again down the line, and I might see other stuff, because I also saw somewhere someone said, yeah, you after reading all the books, you will have a different view on them. But in this one, for the Paul stuff, nah, in the end, that really ruined the ending. That and Alia. So the Paul breaking down and being a coward idiot, and Alia being like, "Oh, I'm evil," or Baron is inside me. Oh no, randomly not. I don't know. That ruined the ending for me. But yeah, so okay, so to something good. My favorite character, or one of my favorite characters, was Farad'n. At first, I thought, okay, he's like Fate Water. I'm gonna hate him, but what a guy, great guy. Like he he kicked his mother's ass figuratively, and said, "Yeah, could you stop this scheming stuff? It's so stupid." He listened to Jessica, and he wanted to be Bene Gesserit. Like he was a very red man. In the end, he like was the scribe, the wise man that was read a lot, and Leto picked him, and Leto liked him, I think. And yeah, they had some tensions there, but yeah, it was what a great guy. I really did like that. I did not expect to like a Corino that much. So yeah, he might be my favorite character in the book because he's so relatable. He was a person. I got that he was a person. And there are other characters I did not get that anymore with, but with him, what a great character. Um, in the end, I wonder. Yeah, he married Ghanima, so he kind of got what he wanted because he will produce the heirs for the line of Atreides. And Corino and Atreides united, that's what they always wanted, in a way. And I really did like that he got what he wanted. And he was not an idiot, he didn't, he saw through the shit of other people. I really did like Farad'n. Um, Jessica, yeah. Jessica. Can't say a lot about her. She was very mechanical as well. Like she was an Gesserit again, I guess. She was she doing Gurney? I don't really know. She randomly sent Gurney into the desert to find Leto in the end, but I don't know. She somehow seemed to know that. Yeah, she was like almost assassinated by Alia, and then she said, "Alia, you tried to assassinate me," and no one really cared, except for the six Farad'n or whatever they're called, the old warriors or former elite guards, the Farad'n, isn't it? Yeah, and they like escorted her out, but no one like attacked Alia. Why not? It was not like even it's like in Game of Thrones a bit when Cersei randomly like kills the Vatican, then is queen, and no one, everyone hated her before, and suddenly it's, oh yeah, you're my queen. Ooh. It was in a bit. It wasn't that bad. It was like understandable because Alia had such a great network of spies and stuff, and she was also trying to make herself look like a goddess. And I guess she succeeded in a way there. So yeah, I understand it. You know, it made sense. At least it made more sense than the Cersei stuff. But yeah, it was. But Jessica then, yeah, she went and to Farad'n, and Farad'n like said, yeah, okay, I will not end you. I will just, teach me, and then go back to your home, whatever. I don't know what that was. In the end, I liked, as I already said, that she had a bit of character development by realizing that the Bene Gesserit had mind-washed her as well all her life, and she wanted to find out who she was. I like that. Yeah. Um, Stilgar, Gurney, and Duncan, yeah. They were, I don't know why, they felt shallow. They felt very shallow. Stilgar, not so much. Stilgar, first chapter of Stilgar. First chapter with Stilgar was, I loved it. Loved it so much because like it brought you up to speed, told you about his feelings, about Fremen tradition, about what he thought about the twins. So good. He was such a great guy. And then he just disappeared. And in the end, he murdered Idaho because he got provoked like an idiot, and that was what he did. Gurney like showed up once in the book and then hid again, and he was like, he captured Leto? I don't really get. I think I missed that though. I think I was stupid there. But the way I understood it was like, okay, Leto like escaped, and Gurney found him. Gurney's Namir man found him. I don't know how Gurney knew he would go there, but whatever. And then he was supposed to test him for abomination, and then yeah, that was it. Then he went away again. Too bad. I really love Gurney, and yeah, just Brolin. You're so good. Loved his performance. Yeah, and then Duncan, I didn't really get that as well. And yeah, I have the feeling with so many of these things that I just missed them because I'm an idiot. And I'm sorry if I did. But yeah, Duncan, so Duncan was like, he loved Alia. And then he noticed that she changed and she was a disgusting thing suddenly and he had problems there. I like that depiction. And then he still was in her service, but he played the Sedai. He said he told the truth, but he like told it in a way that he could bend it. And then he helped Jessica escape whilst the abduction took place. And then in the end, he randomly let himself get killed by Stilgar, so that Stilgar was not neutral anymore and that Alia had problems. Okay. What about his loyalty to Paul? What about his loyalty to Jessica? And I like that Jessica like remembered him drunk in that one scene in Dune. And yeah, and it was very robotic. And I know he's a Gola, but man, give him some more. Like the way he talks is not very emotional. We saw emotions through his thoughts. I like that. But when he talked to people and Jessica like talked to him and he was like this robot guy. And in the end, he was just provoking Stilgar randomly. And it wasn't randomly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know why he did it. And it in the end worked, kind of. Um, I still don't get why he cut himself. I think, why was that? Was that because I don't know. I don't know. To show that he was willing to die and that he would kill himself willingly, to show that to Jessica, that she knew that he would do it and that he was doing it willingly and that everyone knew that what Duncan did was deliberate, that he does things deliberately and also risking his life to like um get to the goal, even though it was not really the goal to. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was a bit weird. Was that it, or was there more I missed? I don't know. Um, yeah. So Stilgar, Gurney, and Duncan, there was not enough of them in the book. I felt. Hara was once in the book, so she was still with Stilgar. I like that. Yeah, we we now know that Chani's got red hair. Thanks for telling me the 3 books. That was so dumb. I mean, not that I mean, she's a beauty. We know that, but it was so weird. Like red hair. She had red hair, like Shani had. It's like in the middle of the book, and I was like, did I know that Shani has red hair? I was like, no, I don't. Oh, now I do. Because that's what I noticed, that like the descriptions of the characters are very rough. You don't get that much. You have to imagine a lot, which I like. So it's more about what they do and say than what they look like. Save for sci-fi stuff like a Gola or whatever, that's described more in detail. Um, yeah, the relationship between Ghanima and Leto, I loved that. I loved the way they were. They were like these two people keeping themselves in check, like something Paul did not have. They had the same experience as Alia, so Alia also did not have that. Alia was alone. All was alone. I know. And they were together, they loved each other. Ghanima would have ended Farad'n because of the thought she had that he was killed by Farad'n. Um, and Ghanima was a bit like the female eternity because of her cellular memory, and Leto was the male eternity because of the cellular memory, and they like were talking to each other. So it was like, I love that those scenes so much when they talked and the other people, and they knew it was dangerous and stuff like that. But it was like Herbert could let so many interesting people talk to each other, and the way that like Leto then suddenly was there again, I loved that so much. It was so good to see. And then yeah, Jessica was like there inside of Ghanima, and I loved it so much. And then the scene where Leto has to say goodbye to Ghanima, so because their paths now will diverge. That was very, very, very there. I shed I think I shed a tear there. That was well written. I like those two. They were also very well written and very relatable, likable characters, even though they're like very, spacey and beyond imagination, so to speak. But I got them. There was a sisterly bond, a sisterly and brotherly bond, and that was done so well. I love those two together. Um, Yeah, let's talk about Leto a bit because Ghanima is like in the end, yeah, she's then the queen, I think. Yeah. Um, but Leto decided to become Superman. Did I like that? Yes and no. I liked the idea a lot, um, though I thought it was illogical. It was a bit of a leap to say, yeah, he now fuses with a trout. Um, I have no problem that he fuses with the trout per se. I really like that idea. It's very cool. But then he became like super strong, like could jump a lot and was immortal and not immortal, what do you say? Invincible. Yeah, he was like invincible. He proved it even like he couldn't be poisoned, like ran through fire and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, I'm the best. And he was because that's what he had to be. He had to be this immortal being, so everyone would look up to him for the next whatever he said 4,000 years, I think, or 3,000. I think 4,000 years. So he had to be there. But superpower stuff, it's like, yeah, now he's Superman. Okay, why? Why suddenly? Um, and yes, there was a sci-fi explanation because of the membranes, like they changed him and the chemical composition and stuff. Yes, fine, but that still does not explain what he can do. And um, And I will just like do my little pet theory that yes, the planet like has this minefield thing, whatever. I don't know. There is about something about the planet that also like latched onto Leto there and changed him, or something from the past or future came back. Because in the current situation, if you like say, okay, he took the Sandtrout, he did the glove thing, he like did the Sandtrout still suit, and that is not enough for what he did. It might make him stronger, but not as strong as he is, I believe. And with that, I mean, I couldn't believe that he was that strong, that fast, that invulnerable. I get that he might better, but not perfect. You know what I mean? I don't know if I make this clear enough, but that's my feeling on that. Um, if he hadn't been Superman and like he didn't have to be he didn't have to be. Um, he could have like turned into. He didn't have to jump. He could have burrowed down, and he did so. But he also jumped. He didn't have to jump, so he could have been like more warm, like from the beginning. He could like go into the ground, and that's how he escaped. He could have destroyed the Khanats by worm attacks, perhaps, or by Sandtrouts from the. And I think he also did that. No, because the one Khanat he like took the rocks and threw them away. Okay, perhaps that even would still fit with like strength and muscles. Okay, and the poison stuff I get as well. But then in the end, when he went into the throne room, that was a bit much. He was too, I'm God now. And yes, narratively, it was needed that he did that, but it felt weird. You know what I mean? But I like the idea. I like the idea that he's now immortal kind of, and his personality is dissolving somehow, and he's metamorphosing into something. I want to see what happens there. I really, really like that idea. I really do like that idea. I can't wait to see where that goes because Herbert will the way Herbert wrote the dialogue with the time stuff, which I will analyze later. I love that. So he now has a character that will be very old and really be very old, not because he has all those minds behind him, but because he himself is very old. And I can't wait to read what he does with that. Really can't wait. Love that idea. Just the Superman stuff was a bit reaching. I would have liked it to be more of a mind power that he had. Because that would make more sense. Like he could have controlled all the guards to murder each other. I don't know. Um, Yeah, so that was basically all I have written down is some two little things. And I don't know if we knew that before, but I noticed that the Fremen were like Zenzunis that went into the desert and then developed Fremen culture. I like that little part. And I like that Irulan was like the mother. She had changed. She was now not the conspirator. She was not mad at Paul anymore because she was obviously Paul went into the desert and never came back. That's what my headcanon will be. And some preacher came back and he was in the end not Paul. That was the revelation. But yeah, so Irulan was a loving mother, and she learned to love, and she got the children. So because there was her problem a bit in the last book, because she wanted children, and Paul said you will never get them, but she got them in the end, even though they were not her real children, like by blood. And I like that. That's something also personal to me because I'm like I'm adopted, so I think that's the right thought because the person who raises you is your family or father or mother, I think, and they are allowed to see it that way. They are, and sometimes people like that do more for you than the parents, your biological parents will do. So I really like that. I really liked Irulan's change and the way she was, and she really cared for the children. And it was like she was accused of being a Corino spy then still or whatever, and she was so mad, and she went with them even. So when they evacuated, she went with them, if I remember correctly. Irulan went with them, with Stilgar and Ghanima, I think. Yeah. So Irulan, wow, you were a great character as well. Um, because, by the way, I know the next one's gonna take place. I don't know, some thousand years into the future or whatever. So we will not probably meet these characters again. I'm very sad, very sad. Um, yeah, Duncan randomly died. Don't know why. It was a bit stupid. Alia randomly died. I mean, it was not that, but yeah, can't wait to see where it goes. Um, also, yeah, Leto's gonna restructure the Bene Gesserit now, I think. He wanted to do that. That makes sense. I want to see what the Ixians and the Play Luxu are gonna build or invent. I want to see if there will be an intelligence coming down the line. I want to see what Leto has to say about the thousands of years of living. I hope that they tell me what happened to the characters that I loved. Like Irulan, like Stilgar, like Ghanima, like Farad'n. Are there more I want to know about? Gurney, perhaps? Jessica, perhaps? I don't really care that much about Jessica anymore. I think she has had her course as a character. She's done, I feel. Yeah, that's about it, I guess. Yeah. But a great book. I really did like it. And I know there were some nitpicks I had here in this book. And I think you should criticize stuff you don't like. Even though it's opinionated stuff. It's just my opinion and you might see differently. And if you do, please comment on what you see differently because I'm interested. Because these things, books like this, there are so many views you can have on them, and that's the beauty of it. And I can't wait to read God Emperor. Um, I don't know when I will be able to do that, to be fair, because this took some time to get reading. So I read Wheel of Time, book one, and now it's been some time again, and I finally got to read Children. I read it in a day. It was great, and you could do that because it was good to read. I really did like reading it, and the middle flowed very very quickly. The beginning was a bit of a drag, I have to admit, and the ending was a bit abrupt, and I didn't really like some things in it. And I told you already what I didn't like about the ending. So yeah. Okay, so that was it about people we loved here in the Dune universe. So next time we will probably get to know new people and new ideas and new facets of the world, and I can't wait. And I hope it will not be 3 months again until I finish the book. But yeah, let's see where it goes. And as always, I hope you like this if you didn't like it, or if you disagree with me, or if you agree with me, be my guest. Tell me in the comments, and let's discuss this stuff because I love Dune. Can't wait for the next movie. And yeah, if you like this stuff, consider liking, subscribing, and ring the bell for more updates on more other stuff like I will do. Yeah, I will just tell a bit about that. So I'm currently doing Witcher. Gonna start season 2 on Monday next week, and I do Tower of God currently, and I will also do Expense after The Witcher probably. So in 9 weeks there will be Expense reactions every week, which is more sci-fi. So yeah, if you like this stuff, perhaps check some stuff out, or perhaps also if you're a fan of The Wheel of Time, I'm reading the books live, kind of. So I like record myself and cut together my reactions, so you can read along if you want to read along a book with me. I'm currently in book 2, Great Hunt. Just started it yesterday, and it's already a blast. Book 1 was a blast. You can also see that in my channel, let's say here, and take that out if you want to read that along with me as well, with me past me. And otherwise, have a happy day. Hope you are well and stay well, and all the best. Bye.